Right now, the cost of housing is locking an entire generation out of homeownership. At the exact same time, the artificial intelligence industry is drawing so much electricity to train its models that entire regional power grids are buckling. The traditional real estate market relies on a simple equation. You trade your labor for wages, and you use those wages to pay your mortgage or rent. But as those same AI models actively automate white-collar and blue-collar labor, that equation breaks down. You can see this bottleneck right now in places like Central Washington. Tech giants are desperate to build massive data center campuses here, but the local public utility has maxed out its hydroelectric dams. The grid is full, and companies like Microsoft and Amazon literally cannot plug in any more servers. To permanently solve the housing crisis, we have to decouple the cost of living from human labor entirely. We have to attach human housing directly to big tech's desperate multi-billion-dollar hunt for raw megawatts. Here is the prospectus for Project Motherboard. For an $80,000 equity buy-in, you secure the deed to a 1,000 square foot physical home, plus a fractional ownership stake in a 100 megawatt small modular reactor, or SMR. An SMR is an advanced nuclear reactor built in a factory and shipped to a site as a complete unit. The power generated by your stake in that reactor is not speculative. It is pre-sold on a 20-year legally binding contract to a major tech company like Microsoft to run their AI operations. By selling baseline power to data centers, the infrastructure pays for itself. This creates a profit-generating energy utility where the individual resident's cost of living drops mathematically below zero. Because our export is commercial power, we abandon winding suburban roads for the hyper-rational structure of a computer motherboard. Sitting dead center is the CPU, the 100 megawatt small modular reactor. From there, we scale the grid outward into 4 distinct quarters, keeping physical distance to the central reactor incredibly short. Each geographic core houses 250 parcels, building a perfectly balanced matrix of 2,000 homes. This dense geometric clustering is a strict thermodynamic requirement, ensuring excess reactor heat efficiently heats and cools every single home without losing temperature. Instead of asphalt streets, the main arteries of the grid are linear utility spines. These wide corridors house the underground geothermal loops and heavy power export lines, reserving the surface entirely for pedestrians and autonomous transit. The physical homes are standardized, 1,000 square foot prefabricated modules. They plug directly into these utility spines at exact east-west angles to capture maximum solar yield. Every single unit arrives from the factory with solar panels and bidirectional batteries installed. A bidirectional battery is a storage system that can both draw power from the grid and discharge power back into it. This networks the entire town into a massive virtual power plant, allowing the homes to operate as a single coordinated energy system. Positioned in the interstitial zones between the 4 housing quarters are the community heat sinks. These areas contain large-scale aeroponic greenhouses that grow food using the excess heat and water from the central grid. Because everything is modular and plug-and-play, the physical asset is infinitely upgradable. If a housing unit fails decades from now, a crane simply rolls down the utility spine, unplugs the old unit, and drops a new one onto the exact same standardized foundational hookups. Running 24 hours a day, the 100 megawatt reactor pumps out roughly 832,000 megawatt hours of firm industrial electricity every year. When 2,000 residents come home at 6 in the evening and turn on their appliances, the solar batteries on their roofs absorb that massive spike in residential demand. They act as an electrical shield for the central reactor. This flowchart details the energy distribution. Because the residential loop handles its own usage spikes, nearly 100% of the highly lucrative baseline nuclear power bypasses the homes and is exported directly to local big tech data centers at a massive premium. The solar panels are not there to power the commercial data center. They exist strictly to absorb the shock of human behavior, so the nuclear reactor can maintain its profit margins without interruption. This chart illustrates the unit economics. We start with the leveraged ask. You put down $80,000 while a bank finances the heavy reactor construction. They issue this loan using the tech company's power purchase agreement as strict collateral. A power purchase agreement is a long-term legal contract guaranteeing that a buyer will purchase a set amount of electricity at a fixed price. After paying the debt service on that bank loan, Your share of the reactor yields an annual $19,000 cash dividend. If you rent out the physical prefab unit, you generate a combined total yield of $43,000 a year. That is a 53% cash-on-cash return. On the right is the debt-free ask. This is an all-cash $400,000 buy-in that requires zero bank loans. Without debt service eating into the margins, the unencumbered nuclear dividend skyrockets to $35,350 per year. In the leveraged model, Big Tech's trillion-dollar balance sheet is effectively paying off the infrastructure debt. It converts a standard housing purchase into a high-yield generational wealth asset. For an everyday resident living in Energy Town, the math works in reverse. Their energy dividend automatically pays their mortgage, zeroes out their internal utility costs, and deposits surplus cash directly into their bank account indefinitely. The paternalistic company towns of the past failed because a single corporation controlled the jobs, the houses, and the rules. This cooperative structure completely decouples your employment from your residency. By utilizing the exact energy bottleneck that threatens the AI industry, we can build an economically sovereign working-class city. It is a permanent lifeboat, perfectly insulated from the very labor market collapse that funded it.